Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com and I just got paired up playing a 5-0 game. So let's see what we get. Alrighty. Feel like I am always... No, let's not play that. Let's play g3. Feel like I'm always behind on the clock whenever I play these 5-0 games. Can we pick up the speed here? Let's get c4 in. So we have a Catalan on board. Black does not want to take. Alright, let's go knight d2. I am prepared to recapture with the knight. Maybe the pawn. We'll see. Just trying to complete queenside development now. Fianchetto, double fianchetto setup. Let's get another move in. Queen c2, rook d1 on b5. I'll keep the tension. Interesting. Could take with the knight or the pawn. Let's take with the knight. Improve him. Maybe he jumps into e5. And now I'll throw my pawn up to e4. No idea what that bishop is doing. Let's give him a boot. If he goes too far, I jump into d6. Let's put my rook here first. I'd like to hold off maybe on e4. My bishop may want to see. You know what? Let's put my knight here. I'm working with the space advantage, so I'm going to be a pest. I'm going to avoid too many exchanges. I have the time to do these types of moves. The position tells me that. This is not a sharp position just yet. I want to make sure these two breaks do not happen. Let's get one more piece playing. Knight on c5 should be a giant bother. I did not say this yet, but I held off on b4 because I was afraid of a5. Let's jump into c5 right now. Bishop takes, they give me the bishop pair and a little bit of space. Maybe I could... Let's try this move, actually. Instead of b4, what about a bishop on a5? Now that there's a queen and rook here? Yeah, that could be a great bother. On a knight move to d5, I'll go here. I could kick him away soon. This knight cannot be shooed away so easily. Let's give him a boot. And now I think I'm winning. The knight has to go back to b6. And they're just in a giant pickle. Ooh, a timely b6. Is that really working, though? Let's do a little bit of calculation here. That knight on d5 doesn't have any squares. If I go here, there's knight takes e4. I could take and then take, that sort of stuff. But what if my knight simply goes back to a4? Where does he go? I have to play b5, then my knight returns to this square. I think I prefer that. I think in both cases I'll be better, but I see this as much more clear because this is a huge weakness. I could take this pawn, actually. Maybe in some line. Maybe that's what they're going to go for. It's probably the best chance, getting a rook and two pawns, and I'll get two minor pieces. Yeah, I totally missed that they could take a3. Let's see if they go for it. I think here it's just, well, I guess they didn't see that idea. They had to play b5 there. Well, let's just scoop up the knight. And let's hit the bishop right back. So they have two pawns, I have a minor piece. Who's not playing? Let's get him working. Actually, I'm getting two pieces working with that last move. My knight. And my bishop. He could probably go elsewhere. He's observing a7. Excuse me, a6. Get my other rook to c6. Or point at c6 at least. I'm also targeting f7. Let's put the rook here. This might be too much. They're going to cash out. This pawn is pinned. Okay, let's just drop back. I want to secure here. I'm in a pin as well. Okay, maybe my rook wants to go to b1. Expecting some queen move. Where will she be well placed? I think in the end, if there's a couple captures and my queen is here, okay. Well, let's get out of this pin. Let's also note, is there a better move? What about bishop c3? Yeah, maybe bishop c3 is better, because you know what? I think bishop b7 and they're ready to take my knight and then take here. The queen is unprotected. Yeah, I think bishop c3 is better. Maybe here is best. You know what? Wow. What a weird position. All right, I'm going to go here. I think they could win a pawn. They're not going for that. And now has the smoke finally cleared? Both right around 2 minutes. Okay. Can I now just take here? Both seem pretty good. Which one should I go for? I'm gonna go with that one. Take a center pawn. That was tempting as well. Not threatening to take the bishop. This knight has a good home on b4. Okay. If I move my queen, let's go here, actually. Maybe bishop h3. Hitting the queen. No, not quite. Okay, I think I need to reposition my knight. Maybe I jump into d6. I want to keep my knight here. Okay, I could take this pawn. They're on my knight, though. There's tension between the bishops. A minute left. Let's take the bishop. And that was a bad move. Okay. If I played knight c4, there would have been b5. There was such a much more clean approach than the one I am taking right here. That is for sure. Not very happy with how I'm playing right now. They did a good job complicating, that is for sure. I should be the one in my opponent's camp. This knight is a tremendous bother. They have a pawn for the piece. 3 versus 1 on the queen's side. Let's get this knight here. Maybe I start to finally coordinate a little bit. Put the other knight on f3. Queen has a responsibility. She's not a fan of defending the knight. Finally take. Let's get this rook playing. Threatening c5, but they're on this knight. Let's just go here. Crash through on c5 soon. Let's do it. Slight edge on the clock. They still need a flight square. They just resigned. It's a pretty odd resignation. Just when things were ready to enter into bullet mode there, anything could have happened. Really upset with how I played this game at this point right here. Let's see. Right here. Let's see. This moment. This is, I'm going back, reflecting on the game. This is the one position that's capturing my attention. What could I have done better here to not allow these complications? Because I probably allowed at some stage, I probably allowed black to have something. Like, I mean, when I retreated the knight here, as mentioned, they could maybe go in for this. I take the knight, they take the rook, I take back, and in the end, I mean, what just happened there? They took a rook and 2 pawns, and I have 2 minor pieces. Probably something close to equal, but I want something cleaner. So what is the cleaner approach here? So before I look at this with the engine, what could I have done better? Should I have just chopped the knight? I take the knight, they take my knight, and then how about I just take on e6? Take a pawn and then threaten to take another one. I think I end up just being up a pawn. Yeah, I should just take the knight, take on e6, and then take on c5. I'm up a pawn, and it's clean. So putting this on board, I gotta take back. I take this way. If they want to do this, well, I take here with check. They'll probably recapture with the pawn. I take here, and this is the position we work with. Now, if there's one downside I'm seeing, well, if there's one strong point in black's position, I would say it's this point here, the d5 square. But I'm up a pawn. And there won't be a knight arriving in my house. It's bad enough if a knight is somewhere here in the game. He got to d3. He's an octopus from there. He's a killer. Okay. Yeah. If I could do it over again, that's the variation I would go with if I had more time to really think it through. This is the cleaner approach to take on d5. Maybe the computer will correct me, but it seems much more clean. And yeah, I probably allowed some counter chances, so let me bring up the engine and we'll have a look at it. Okay. Let us see about this one. Catalan. They do not take on c4. Instead, c6. Knight d2. I think it's fine, this setup. There'll be a couple different approaches, I guess, at least. I don't see anything wrong with the moves I'm making. A6 is a little bit odd. I'm not sure what the point of that is. b5, I would just sit. I would hold off on making any captures. Play queen c2. So they could probably do without that. b6, bishop b7 is probably the way forward for black. What happened in the game? That guy really struggled to do anything. So that's really, if there's a way to improve on the black end, that's one thing I could say. Probably get this guy working straight away, do things that facilitate his development. b6, bishop to b7. I'm just slowly improving. I could probably go both ways here, pawn or knight, but I'm seeing a moment to improve my knight by a couple ranks and end up in these key 16 areas. Both of my knights are here, so this is the area ideally both knights would like to be in a game. So they're there. I'm eyeing up e5. I guess that was to provoke a3. But yeah, I think black from here is really in trouble. I mean, look at the evaluation. It's even material, but I just have too many good pieces. I have space, a lead in development, and soon a strong pawn center. e4, d4. So the improvements are already in the past here for black. Get another piece working. Wants to go with e4. It's fine with this. As I think it was right around this point, yeah, I was saying I have the time to maneuver. This is a very controlled position. I'm controlling the two key pawn breaks. Black's two key pawn breaks, c5 and e5, and I have more space, so I wanted to avoid a knight exchange. Play this position with all four minor pieces, in other words. So I'm eyeing up the c5 square, and I guess let's just bring it to this point. Well, okay, this may seem a little bit, I was saying I want to avoid piece exchanges. This is a moment where black could take out my knight, but that's an imbalanced, that would be giving up a bishop for knight. That would be giving up black's more important of the two bishops, if they're taking out my knight like this. And I could take with the pawn, and he becomes a monster. And this one square d5 can be taken away. So this would not be good. This is huge for Team White. Dark square weaknesses in black's camp everywhere. d6, b6. It's not something to do. So they have to try and work around that knight. e4, it suggests. This is where I now had the idea to get my bishop to a5, knight b to d5. I drop my bishop back to e1, which is fine. And now it does want to go with b6. Okay, they dropped the bishop back first. And now I played e4. Does like e4. And now, I guess best is b6, the move they played. Knight to b6, and yeah, this is just game over. Because how do you ever get out of this pin? You could defend like this, but my other knight can come over here and attack the pinned piece. This would be way too much. So they were right. They probably anticipated bishop to a5. That's why they went with b6. And what could I have done better? It suggests the move that I played in the game. Knight a4. Let me just see if this is fine as well. Takes. Does it want to take on e6? c6 it wants to go with. I was pointing out e6. And I guess either is fine. Prefers to take on c6. Yeah, getting a passed pawn. And here there's probably an issue. The knight jumping into c6, yeah. Okay, so in this variation I was pointing out just after the game before looking at the engine, I could take like that, and then it's better to take on c6 instead of e6. Oh, here's another train of thought. If I'm taking on e6, I'm going to be up a pawn either way, but if I take in this direction, I'm helping this bishop play. If I take like this, he still struggles. He's staring at his own pawns. So I should take in a way where at least I'm not helping facilitate black's development. See, what I was doing just then was I was too focused on material. I was like, okay, I'm going to be winning a pawn, but how about I win a pawn and not help my opponent develop? I didn't see that. I didn't think of it like that. But yeah, it makes sense now. Take on c6. It's just trying to identify the differences just then. Okay, well, I played knight a4. It suggests bishop takes a3 now, or even b5. He took on e4, and they take rook a1. It's winning for me, but it got way too complicated. Was there any opportunity here for Team Black? Let's go with f4. Okay. It wants to just maintain the knight here. Yeah, okay, that would have saved me a lot of trouble, because I wouldn't have had to worry about, I don't know, the bishop hitting my rook. Yeah, f4, just secure the knight. He even likes b4 here. Didn't consider b4. I just got my knight out of the way. I felt like he was losing. My opponent was trying to undermine support of e5, so just wanted to get him out of harm's way, but I gave up a little bit something with that. It does like bishop c3, queen to e2, bishop b2. I guess it's still winning. I take like this. Yeah, I was torn in the game which pawn to take here, but I guess it's still winning. Anything? It just seems scary. Okay, I guess it was always winning, but right around this point, yeah, it's not fun having to work around that knight. It seems to still be a winning advantage throughout. Anything missed? No, I guess not. It seemed a little scary, but I guess there wasn't really any opportunity that Black had, and, well, they just resigned at this point. It is +5, and actually I'm just up a full knight at this stage. I thought in the game they would have just captured on b3, and we would go from here. Rook c6, I was planning that. I didn't know what I was going to do after, let's say, queen b8, but yeah, I am up a knight. Actually, e6 is a move. Once rook c6 is in there, the queen isn't stopping this advance. I could go with e6, and now knight jumps in here, and a rook on the 7th. I already have a flight square. Okay. All right, well, interesting game. My opponent ended up a bit cramped. They didn't really solve their... Well, they didn't really complete development there with that queen bishop. And had some space. And it was a bit too cramping for Team White in that one. All right, well, as usual, feel free to leave any feedback to this video in the comments section below. Any Catalan fans? I don't play that too often, but it's a good opening. Anyhow, feel free to leave any feedback in the comments section below, and hope you're having a great day. Take care. Bye.